What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing well. A few weeks back, I sent out a survey inviting you all to share where you need some help with, and as I mentioned in last week's video, 74% of you said you needed help with marketing your practice, and within that bubble of folks, a number of you said you could really use some help with finding your niche, which is one of those, like, if you can figure out your niche, it's kind of like the linchpin that makes everything else so much easier when it comes to marketing your practice. In fact, finding your niche is so critical to marketing your practice that one of the very first videos I ever posted to this channel was an exercise to help you narrow down your niche. But I'm aware that most things in life are not one size fits all, so even though that's still a very helpful exercise, it may not be the exercise that does it for everyone across the board. So in this video, I thought I'd offer 5 different tools you can use to narrow down your niche, and hopefully at least one of these tools can help you if you've just been having trouble getting your niche narrowed down. So let's get right into it. The first tool to help you find your niche is just reiterating that same tool that I named in that video almost 5 years ago. It's still super valuable and my favorite way to kind of identify my own niche. Effectively, you want to think of all the clients that you've worked with and imagine the ones that you've had the most fun working with, you found the most meaningful, the ones you enjoyed the most, and try to think of what variables were at play for those folks that made you enjoy them so much, and try to just brainstorm everything and start to find themes across your brainstorms. I'm not going to do a deep dive on that strategy since I do still have that old video, and though it may be a teensy bit cringy to watch now, like 5 years later, it still holds the same value that it did then. Now, the next tool to find your niche I'm stealing from my friend and colleague Roy Kim. He shared this tool in a video several years back that we did together, where he said that he was able to find his niche through the process of elimination. So early on in his career, he worked with everyone. He was a generalist. Beggars can't be choosers. If you want to see me, come on down. And over time, he started to learn that, you know what, I'm not super loving working with couples. So he's starting to rule out different types of work that he's not jiving with, that just aren't the best fit for him. And over the years, he came to a very highly specialized niche of being a certified sex addiction therapist, and that is his thing. That is the thing that he does. So he came to that through the process of elimination. Now, of course, the potential downside of this process is it can tend to take a bit longer than some of these other tools that I'm describing in this list, and we may not all have the luxury of sort of letting time unfold and kind of meandering through different potential specialties, especially if your practice isn't full right now, and that's kind of the whole issue that you're trying to solve with finding your niche. But I think for a lot of folks, it's really helpful to just know you have permission to explore and take your time, and you will discover your niche over time if you allow yourself to keep pivoting. The next tool to help you find your niche is to identify your values as a human. I think sometimes it can be so easy to kind of get into a tunnel vision mode of trying to identify our professional values, our professional passions, that we start to kind of get paralyzed and we can't really see what they are. If that's the case, it may be helpful to really zoom out and look at what your values are as a whole person, not just your professional values, but your personal values, your relational values, your spiritual values, your community values, health values, all the values of who you are as a person. If you'd like a tool to help you do that, you can use the Life Compass exercise from Acceptance and Commitment Therapy, which really just helps you identify your values across all these individual arenas of life, as well as how important each of those values are to you. Of course, you can also just kind of do the exercise on your own. And once you've done that, you've identified your list of values across these different arenas, maybe see if there's any themes, because a lot of people are going to notice that things that you value in your personal life are going to overlap with things that you value in your spiritual life, are going to overlap with your community life, and surprise, surprise, going to overlap with your professional life as well. If there's any themes of values that feel really important to you across several arenas, see if there's any ways you can see that manifesting already in the work that you're doing with your existing clients. What was it about that work that allowed you to access those values? Is there anything you can do to help you kind of ratchet up how much you can lean into those same values in the work that you do? The next tool to help you find your niche is to phone a friend. This is one of those tools that I think kind of universally applies regardless of what life situation we feel stuck in. We just need an outside observer to help us get out of our own head. So if you have a trusted colleague, especially if it's somebody that you've worked with before or maybe you've consulted with, they can really help you see what sorts of things get you fired up, that you get excited by, your face lights up when you talk about that kind of work, and what sorts of things you get kind of down about. If you can have a friend who can help you do that, that is so valuable because you may not even notice what those things are, and they can help observe that for you, especially a therapist friend. And another value add of having somebody else participate in this conversation is they can gently call you out for saying things like, I'd really like to do this type of work, but I don't think I'm the right person for it because of insert self-doubt here. I found that for a lot of therapists, the biggest catch that comes with not being able to identify your niche is that you actually know what the thing is that you want to do. You just don't believe that you're the right person for it. And this is where it's so critical to have a trusted person be able to gently coax you out of that state of mind, because whatever the block is, it's usually overcomable. And the last tool to help you identify your niche is to gamify the process, using a game of this or that. Now, this is kind of the process of elimination strategy that I was referring to in the tip that I stole from Roy Kim, of just ruling out things that you don't super love and seeing what's left, but you can kind of do it right now in real time a little bit faster. So try to play a game with yourself, or you could do it with somebody else if that's helpful, and write down your answers to these questions of just, do you prefer this or that? Do you prefer working with kids or adults? Do you prefer working with individuals or couples? Do you prefer working with, female identifying folks or male identifying folks, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? And your answers may be, I like both, but which do you prefer? Let's just go with that for now. Do you prefer one at least a little bit over the other? Write down those answers, because that can help guide you and get more and more and more specific as you go. Think through presenting issues, think through approaches and worldviews in life, think through work ethics, think through things like socioeconomic status. Any variables, demographic variables, presenting issue variables, personality variables that you can think of. Think through it and just go this or that. Do I prefer to work with someone like this, or do I prefer to work with someone like that? And just keep going. List it out in a notes app, put it on a Post-it note, whatever organizational system works for you, and then look at it as a whole and see, are there any themes here? If you need to, phone that friend. Do you see any themes here? And just see what comes of it. And this leads to my final thought that I named in last week's video, but I feel like I'm gonna need to name it on repeat a few times. And that is, when it comes to finding a niche, you don't have to land on the niche that you're going to do forever and ever and ever till death do you part or you leave the career. You're just choosing a lane for now, so that when you're marketing to people today, you know who you're speaking to, how to help them identify that you might be a good fit for them. And later, if you want to change your niche, absolutely you can. But if you're just a generalist who serves every single person, it's much more difficult to target your marketing. And before we close, I'd like to thank TherapyNotes.com for sponsoring this video. Therapy Notes can help with streamlining your whole practice as you manage scheduling, notes, billing, if you need a HIPAA-secure telehealth platform, and so much more. If you'd like to check out Therapy Notes, you can check it out for free with no commitment for 2 months just by clicking the link in the description of this video. Well, I hope you found this video helpful in kind of getting unstuck and knowing where to go next when it comes to finding your niche. And if you have any tips to add, things that have helped you find your niche, add them in the comments below so other folks can learn from your strategies as well. And until next time, from one therapist to another, I wish you well.